All right, Falcons fans, a disappointing third week of the Falcons season in the books. But lucky you are listening to FinCast, brought to you by Scana Energy, the official natural gas partner of your Atlanta Falcons. As always, the Fin and FinCast to my left, Mr. Brian Finneran.
What up?
Behind the glass, our producer, Andrew Groover.
Hello.
And I'm Tyler Nelson. And as I just said before the mics came on, I've had a whole week to calm down, and I'm still angry.
I've learned to calm down a little bit. They've eased for whatever reason, well, just to recap very quickly, we got our heads beat in by the lowly Carolina Panthers. It was ugly. It was disappointing. It looked unprofessional at times. It looked sloppy. You had guys on special teams tackling each other. You had kickoff returners dropping balls that are bouncing around on knuckleball kickoffs. You had missed field goals from your new kicker, who made 5 out of 5 2 weeks ago in Minnesota. You had a quarterback that got a little skittish and was throwing balls to check down left and check down right and pick six left and almost pick six right. And it was as bad as you could possibly imagine.
Yep.
I yelled and screamed about it. You actually had a play, which we'll move on from in 30 seconds, where you called a timeout.
This is the pinnacle of awful to me right here, this.
To get a flipping play in on third down, and you got to the line. You get on the field after the timeout.
They still huddled.
Yes. Get to the line of scrimmage and get a delay of game penalty. At that point, I threw my hands up in the air and was done with the team on that particular day.
Yeah, and that was early in the game, too. And I don't think I'd let Zach Robinson on the plane after this game. But what we did instead was scapegoat Ike Hilliard and fired the wide receivers coach. Because I know that everybody out there was thinking when we lost that game, they were like, well, if only it weren't for the wide receivers coach.
Yeah, it was an interesting move. I don't know if there was an attitude issue. The receivers had 7 drops on the season so far, a couple in that game against Carolina. It felt like a scapegoat move, but I don't have all the information from inside the building.
But like, after an embarrassment like that, and the change you make is the wide receivers coach.
Yes. So
give me a freaking break.
Yeah, really strange. TJ Yates promoted, so he'll take on kind of quarterback and wide receiver duties.
Sure.
The other news coming out of the weekend, Zach Robinson will now call plays from the sidelines as opposed to up in the booth. Is it?
But before I get onto my things with the offense, how will that affect an offensive coordinator?
So when you're up above, you have a very nice view of how the plays are developing, what they're doing as like an all-22 view where you can see everybody. Down on the field, it'll be a little different. You won't get a great sight line of what's happening everywhere. But as a former quarterback, Zach Robinson was, as a guy that's been playing calls for just over a year now, I got to believe he got a decent feel where he's going to be at and what's going to happen. Now he can see Michael Penix's face when he comes off the sideline. They can get on their Surface tablet and point stuff out and see what went wrong, what was...
They can communicate more easily.
100%. He won't be sitting there twiddling his thumbs looking like a mute on the sideline. So we'll see.
Only 1 pass attempt from under center all season. 93% pass rate out of the shotgun. So when we're in the shotgun, 93% of the time we're passing. When we're in the pistol, over 70% of that is a run. 4th lowest play-action pass in the NFL this season. Lowest deep pass in the NFL at 4%. That is abysmal. And he wants to say he's not predictable, right? Because here is his exact quote, Zach Robinson, in response to his play calling being called predictable. Quote, "We don't feel that way. We don't see that from our opponent. It seems like we're just this close on a lot of things. It might be one thing here, one thing there, a missed throw, a missed hit. It starts with us as coaches just making sure that everything is super clear with these guys so they can go execute." There was another one where he was saying that we need to simplify things. And I just don't understand how a response is, no, we're good. It's just, it's just some other small things. When this is true, those stats that I just said is true, how can you just not go, we need to reevaluate? Why is that hard?
Stubbornness, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then the head coach kind of contradicted him by saying that they were being predictable. So those guys,
Yes, it's just systemic dysfunction.
Yeah.
That's what that coaching staff is.
Well,
I mean,
my biggest issue with everything is I know, this is a children's game. At the end of the day, it's just football. But our head coach needs to be aware of optics. Optics are such a big thing, and you cannot be dabbing up the opposing team at the end, laughing it up.
That's another thing for me.
Explain the situation, because after the 30-0 beatdown, Raheem went over, and he knows he's very friendly. He's got a great personality. He knows a bunch of people across the league. He's been coaching for 20 years.
Yeah, he was the youngest head coach at
back
one
in
point
Tampa in 2009 or 10. He was a head coach at 34, whatever, 32, and he was terrible at it. And but he's met a lot of people. And he's after the game. I mean, you are embarrassed, 30-0, and against not a very good football team in Carolina. And after the game, you're hugging opposing coaches with a big smile on your face,
smiling,
you're
congratulating
dapping up
them,
other
whatever.
players. So optically, not a good look. Does it mean anything moving forward? No.
What I also don't understand is even you're right about the optics. You're right about the optics, but even that was anything personally. As someone who would, I think I would be aware of the optics. I'm getting my ass off the field because I'd be so damn mad at what my team, however responsible you feel for it or not, what I would be fuming. How I can one to the coach and then off the field.
All right. Any other comments about this game? Because why are we yelling?
No. Maybe he was laughing because sometimes when things are so bad, all you can do is just laugh at the situation.
So I have an example real quick. When I say getting our heads beat in back in 2004, we finished that season 11-5, and fairly early in the season, maybe halfway through, we went to Kansas City, and 56-10 later, Coach Morris sat down next to me and Michael Vick on the bench, and he said, boys, sometimes this is the NFL. Chalk this one up. Nobody had it. Get the hell back to Atlanta, and let's do something different next week. That's what has to happen. It feels bad. It felt awful. It looked disgusting. It was embarrassing. All the different adjectives you can figure out and come up with, you can use, and they're all rightfully said. But now, what do you do the next week? We went on to go 11-5 that year and became a really good football team. This team can do something. You cannot, though, lose to Washington, go into a bye week 1-3 with 3 of those losses in your conference, and have to play Buffalo coming out on Monday Night Football. Disaster.
Well, and you're right. And I understand the laugh to keep from crying. I understand that things happen and whatever. I'm really hopeful this is not an example of what this team really is. However, through 3 games, we have 3 touchdowns. All are rushing, and there's no sign that this offense is going to turn around.
Bijan did have a receiving touchdown. So he did, out of the backfield.
Out of the backfield.
One of the first touchdowns of the season, yeah. But since then, I don't think we've done anything. No receiver or tight end has a touchdown catch. It's almost impossible when you really stop and think about it.
And that's my point. And with this quote from Zach Robinson, he goes, it doesn't make me think that he in any way sees we need to change something.
Well, they changed it. They're on the sideline with him now, and they need to use less pistol and be better in the red zone. And let's see if they can. I'm not going to base my entire season off one of the worst games I've ever seen.
No.
I'm going to watch this week very closely. We're going to be there. Probably stop by and say hi to my friends at Scanna Energy and try to watch as close as I can and see what's happening. And was that just a blip?
Well, this past Sunday was a whole team effort to suck. This offense was doing the same thing it's done all season. Is my point.
I'm going to disagree a little bit.
Worst version of it. But it's the predictability isn't necessarily is a play tricky or sexy looking. Does the defense know if you're running or passing?
Right.
You become so much more stoppable if the defense knows exactly what you're going to do.
Very true.
And that's what
the tendencies in football are everything. Because then the defensive coordinators, if they have a tendency that's, to your point, 90% or whatever, or even 70%, then they can run their defense according to that tendency.
Exactly.
Until you break that tendency, which we really haven't done. We ran roughshod over Minnesota in the run game with the pistol, with Algier.
Sure.
Algier had 1 carry, by the way, in Carolina.
Yep.
But that's because your possessions are short, turnovers.
You're playing from behind.
17-0 to start the second half when you first series of the second half in the pick 6, and then you're from behind, and I guess you don't think you can do anything. All right, can we please move on for the love?
Burn the tape. Let's move on.
All right. So, Washington Commanders. The biggest note probably coming up is that Jaden Daniels is hurt or may potentially play, may not play.
So I'll tell you what I've heard, and we played it on the morning show today. That dude wants to play. He wanted to play last week. Yeah. He's got a knee that's got a sprain and some kind of ligament in his knee, and I've gone through this multiple times. You're like, no shit, we've seen it. So I've had an ACL, MCL, PFL, PCL. I've done them all. I've done all the CLs.
As I said to you, I think last season on FinCast, a prolific injury collector.
That's exactly right. Thank you. So I've had an MCL where I missed 3 weeks, came back with a brace on. I've had a PCL where I missed 2 weeks and came back and had a brace on. So he sounds like he wants to play. It sounds like he may be wearing a brace, and it all comes down to whether the doctors want to release him to play.
Right.
Now, I'm thinking they probably feel pretty good coming down to Atlanta after what they just watched on film against Carolina, thinking Marcus Mariota could probably handle the business.
And he did a pretty good job in the last game.
They won 40, or I'll get it. They won 41-24 over the Raiders.
But he passed for over 200 yards, no interceptions.
Ran
I
the
think
ball effectively.
70% something completion rate. Like, he did a good job, which is hard to say about Marcus Mariota, or surprising to say about Marcus Mariota.
We don't want to say anything good about Marcus.
Speaking of the knee brace, that's been a big conversation around Washington this week because he's never worn one before.
Yeah.
So how was that the first time you wore one? Did it limit you at all? Could you tell? Did it bother you? Is it just an annoying
So my
thing?
first time was in college. I tore everything. I tore my LCL, and there's another one in my left knee. And that was the last game of the regular season. I missed our playoff game. Rehabbed, got back, wore a brace my senior year because I didn't know how I was going to respond, and kept that thing on my entire senior year. Never took it off, and won the Walter Payton Award with it. So it can be done, especially at the quarterback's position, especially in the pocket like that. You'd really want to wear something.
And you're not running near as much as you are as a wide receiver, obviously.
Not even close.
Yeah.
So just put it on, protect yourself from any more injury. I bet the doctors say, here's the story. If you really want to play, keep this brace on for the next couple of weeks, and we'll let you roll. If you feel like you're too cool for school and don't want to wear it, or it's bothering you, let's give this thing another week till it doesn't hurt you at all.
Well, as Gruber pointed out on the show sheet here, there's another interesting factor to this game, and that's the DQ. Dan Quinn, coach slang terms. What do you think between that and coming off an ass beating? So we saw the loss to, and we talked about this after the Tampa Bay game. What kind of motivation? Do you use that as the, like, woe is me, or do you buckle down, toughen up, and go at it? We saw at Minnesota, they did that, right?
Yeah.
So is the Dan Quinn factor an extra motivation, do you think?
Not necessarily. There's not many guys on this roster still here from Dan Quinn. And Dan Quinn was a sweet guy.
Yeah.
I mean, Shanahan's the one that screwed us in the Super Bowl, so
correct.
I don't really have any ill will toward Dan Quinn, although he could have said, run the ball, Kyle. But outside of that, Dan Quinn is a great guy. I like him a lot. The T-shirt slogans and everything with it. He's a great guy, so I don't think that plays a role. We had a thing when Mike Smith was our coach, Smitty. Never, ever, ever lose back-to-back games, protect home field advantage, and split on the road. If you can do that in some way, shape, or form or fashion, you're going to win 10, 11, 12 games. So those are the things I think about now, which they did. Lose to Tampa, beat Minnesota, get embarrassed by Carolina, come home, protect home field, and find a way to beat Washington. So it's easier said than done, but
it is a winnable game.
No question.
So
we better win this game.
No question.
And as I'm looking at it, the thing that I think is really key is how does Michael Penix respond? Because obviously he looked terrible. As you said, he looked gun shy or skittish or something. And I don't know.
He said,
going back to the I kill your thing, there was obviously some miscues between wide receiver and quarterback. Was that him? Was that the wide receiver coach? But the thing that's interesting is the Commanders' run defense is good. 7th best in the NFL with 3.7 yards per carry. Right? That's good. Obviously, that's a very, if your quarterback isn't doing well, rely on a run game, especially when you have a great one, too, like we do. So, Finn, what do you think? Groover, what do you think then the response from the Falcons after last game to this, and also considering that, will be?
They watch film. They've seen all the stats you pulled up. They've seen the stats that ESPN's been throwing out there. They've seen the word. So they're gonna tighten it up. They got to be more concise. They got to be more on point. They got to hit the line of scrimmage faster. One cut and go. It's the first game I really saw Bijan Robinson dance around back there. If he hits the line of scrimmage faster and harder, maybe you squirt through a couple times, maybe not. But you give yourself a better opportunity.
He did come close on a couple ones.
Yeah.
But to your point.
The other thing I was going to say is Michael Penix said as much. He has to hit receivers when they're open. He was really not good last week. A lot of, I think 9 or 10 passes completed like within either behind or within like 3 or 4 yards of the line of scrimmage. Check down Charlie, gun shy to your point, like you said. So take the shots when they're there. I think we have through 3 games. Here's the stat. I just pulled it up. Through 3 games, the Pro Football Focus stat is big time throws. Michael Penix has exactly 0 big time throws.
And
Moment,
he has a gun,
situation,
man.
red zone, bombs, whatever that stat is and refers to, we have 0 so far in 3 games. You have to take shots down the field with Kyle Pitts and Drake London and Mooney when he's healthy and Ray. They're all athletes. We're not giving our guys shots down the field and chances to win.
Well, and that even goes back to the thing you were talking about, I think, in our first episode of the season, was that when you get down in the red zone, we were talking about red zone struggles, that the defense condenses because there's less field to cover, right?
Right.
That's the same thing. The same thing applies if they know there's no deep shots coming, or if they can be pretty sure there's no deep shots coming. At 4% and the lowest in the NFL, and I know you just said big time plays, so not just deep shots.
Right.
But that meantime, that compresses a defense.
What's the 4% again?
We have the 4% of plays, I guess is what it was. The lowest deep pass rate in the NFL at 4%.
No, there's so many good things that can happen when you have great athletes on the outside. Even when I was out there, just throw it up. I'm not saying I was a great athlete, but I had a high size advantage on a lot of guys. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, size advantage on everybody. Athletic advantage on a lot of guys. Jumping ability. You got 4 or 5 things that can happen when you throw the ball down the field. A catch, a big play, a touchdown. Pass interference, right?
Right.
Ball is where it's at. Incomplete pass. Go back. If say you're doing on 2nd and 1 or 1st and 10.
Exactly. Get a big run with 5 yards more or thereabouts on first down, second down. Okay, we have a down to spare.
The holding penalty. I mean, you got a lot of things that can take place. You just have a catch 25 yards, 30 yards down the field. So more shots downfield are necessary and then you open up everything else when they realize,
they're actually going after this.
Guard against this as well.
And we're going to need, we're going to need our receivers to step up, not name Drake London, because Marshawn Lattimore is one of the best corners in the league.
No doubt.
Mike Evans' worst nightmare from his time at the Saints. So he's good against those big body receivers. Their other cornerback is Trey Amos, who is a rookie, good rookie, second round pick out of Ole Miss, Bama transfer. So we got to attack that rookie and have our receivers step up.
That's a great point.
I'm sure they're going to lock Drake London down, and like we already talked about with the running game,
they're going to try to lock him down. I think your point is they're going to have Lattimore, Marshawn Lattimore, follow him around the field,
right?
In which he could lock him down.
And not to mention that speaking of names we know, Bobby Wagner and Von Miller both still playing it on this Washington defense.
Yeah, their whole front seven, I think it has at least 5 years of service each. I mean, all these guys are vets. Von Miller doesn't have a ton left, in my opinion, but
but future Hall of Famer and
Javon Kinlaw was a first-round pick with the Niners. Frankie Louvu was a good player with the Panthers. Bobby Wagner's been around for a long time, so they got some veterans on defense.
Seattle defense, Legion of Boom.
Yeah,
but I think that there's a lot to be concerned with their defense and especially in the running game, or our running game against their running defense.
I love it when you get matchups like this because I think we are a good running team.
We are, yeah.
We just have to stick with it and be more concise and just hit the seams and go and give Tyler. Tyler can never have another game where he has one carry.
Completely.
Tyler Algier.
We also didn't get past the 30-yard line into their territory, so
that
kind of his specialty is the short, in the red zone and stuff. But 100%. All right. Let's wrap up because I know Finn's got something to do. So, what do you think happens, Finn?
Oh man, I like our chances. I think it's a good bounce back opportunity. You've done it once already, where Tampa Bay got you early in a disappointing loss and some field goal misses and kickoff problems, and you come back and take care of Minnesota on the road in nice fashion. It's about time, and I've heard stories about, and I've seen it personally. The Washington fan base, whether they're the Redskins or they're the Commanders, they will travel. And they will show up in Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and they will be loud. And if we let them get off to a hot start and get up 10 points or a touchdown or two, that's going to be a tough place to be sitting in the stadium and watching. So Falcons got to get off to a fast start, develop the run game early, get it going any way you can, take some shots down the field in the first quarter, and show them you mean business. I did it. I don't know what I like, to tell you the truth. It's just...
You and I had the same thought last week, though. There's 21, the Falcons were going to have a coming out party for the offense.
Say it again? Yeah, I know.
And it was the opposite.
How did that work out for us?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to be 31-20. And we scored 0. We lost 30 to nothing. So
yeah, we got the 30 part right.
21-20, squeaker. I don't give a rip how you do it. Find a way to win and get the hell out of there with the dub. And into the bye week, feeling a certain way about this football team and what you look like.
I'm going to go 21-17 Falcons. This is an extremely winnable game. I know we talked about this earlier. I'm a big revenge game believer, and you know, it may not mean as much to us, but Dan Quinn is going to bring everything he has to stick it to his former employee.
I know
I would if I were him.
Exactly.
Yeah. But with all the people that are out for Washington and with the sense of urgency for this team to win and it being at home, they better win this game.
I think if Marcus Mariota plays, we win. At least certainly have a better chance of winning, but I'm going to go the opposite. I think the Commanders win. I'll go 21-17 Commanders.
Dick.
Here's the problem. Well, yeah. But here's the thing. Through 3 games, I need to be shown something different from Zach Robinson in this offense until I can vote for it again.
So did we do the reverse headset gear just to not to mess with the hairdo? You don't want to mat down the mohawk.
Yeah.
Faux hawk?
No, pompadour.
What do they call
No,
it?
it's a pompadour.
He's got a
Pompadour.
He's got a new mustache too.
It has a
You like
name?
that?
We went to a pirate murder mystery party, and so I had to show. So that's why I look like fucking Captain Morgan right now.
It looks good on you. Looks good on you, though.
Yeah. Rodney Dangerfield. All right. Well, let's hope I'm wrong, and the Falcons come away with a revenge win, as Groover said. And until then, we will see. Go Falcons.
Rise up.